Alrighty, and welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video as much as the others, and if you do, give it a thumbs up, that like button, and subscribe, so I could keep bringing you all of the fun content. So I had done Sterling Steel last time, and I enjoyed the bleed so much I decided to try a challenge and use this good old Xero who had been nerfed into oblivion. So I think I'm going to... Let's see, I probably want to save for this AoE circle execute, or maybe I'll buff up Kitty though, because despite me using him a whole lot, I just haven't used him enough. So we're gonna just go ahead and upgrade this a bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and do this self-block ability. See how much that changes things. So for Xero, before he was nerfed, all you needed was his leader ability, and that was pretty much it. You could clear pretty much any node because the stacks of bleed would just apply, and you could either kite them away or just kite away from the enemies if they were a tanky boy, and if not, it just wrecked any other enemy. So the multiple bleed stacks at 4-star is pretty much all you needed, and the 5-star just helped solidify your victory. So the AoE here is pretty good. Once you get the 6-star, then it does turn into the bleed, and so that is another source of very good damage from him. So I think that's going to be the one I'll do next after I get this execute, just so I could use him for bosses. But we're just going to go ahead and upgrade this for now. The sword flash was his other primary use because it could attack enemies outside of his normal attack range. And that's different because for most of the characters, it's usually their 5-star ability if they're a DPS, or it's either an aura or something. So this is rather nice because of its execute ability for tanky boys. But as far as low-level clearing of nodes, all you need for Xero is his leader ability. So he does have weaknesses, and that being he is a melee character, and if you're trying to go up against ranged characters, it's just very difficult. And I turn down the speed here to start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start the match. I'm going to wait until his global abilities are off cooldown and his leader ability is ready to be used, and then I will go ahead and engage from there. So yes, before he was... oh, I loved Xero. By far one of my favorite characters, and then he got nerfed, and then Toolshed became my best one, my favorite one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to edge range here, so it's outside of him, and then I'm going to aggro that. Unfortunately, what I should have done is I should have waited and pulled out so he would continue to run away, so I'd have a chance to get my leader ability off of cooldown. And that's generally how I did it, but I held it just a little bit too long because I'm on my PC, so it's not as effective using the controls. So the other thing I did was I waited, and then I would do my whatever sword flash I think it's called, or line dash or whatever, in order for these so there's these enemies that are fast. What I do is I will get slightly outside of range, and by the time they enter the range, so let's see, like this, it should pull the last two as well, and I won't actually take any damage if this is done right. And then there. So after his LA, he'll immediately follow up with that line attack. So that's how he does burst damage. Let's see here. How do I check it? Oh, I guess I can't check it until the end, so I'll have to show you guys at the end. But this self-block is very interesting. Block status increased. So I don't know how useful that is, but maybe it'll be more useful once I'm actually battling nodes that have ranged characters. And so it's the same thing with that, is if it's a ranged character like this, where it can attack using a skill, you could dash past them and do it like that. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to move... actually, I think I'm going to go down lower, like this. And then I'm going to immediately move out of the way and follow up with snack time. Yes, exactly like that. So it's the same thing. I'm just going to wait here until I'm outside of range, and then once this is ready, and going. So because a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, let's jump right into the middle of everything, but it's let's utilize the range on this, and so it hits multiple characters and you're outside of the attack range. Because sometimes you'll come across these big chunky enemies that do auto attacks first, and if they're doing 700, 800 damage on a hit, like that really starts knocking down your hit points, especially when you're much lower health. But anyway, we're just gonna go ahead and come in like this, and then we're going to retreat, and I'm just gonna chunk down these enemies a bit. Executed a spider that had 20 health left, excellent. And so I'm just going to kite him around in this circle area, because if you go down here it's very hard to dodge. And yes, just like this, super simple. Luckily he's slow, so I'm just going to come and ping him for the edge here, and then now we have the hard fun part. So we're going to wait for the leader ability to come down. I have to be careful because sometimes I'll come and step just a tad too far. I think right about here is where it starts aggroing this. And the other thing is, for these kinds of abilities, if you go like this, you can see there's a blue line here that indicates the travel path. So if the blue line is to cross the corner right here, if it's to cross that corner, it'll actually prevent you from being able to cast here. So you'll end up casting it right here instead. So that's one of the most annoying things about melee characters, and why, in my opinion, they're just a little bit weaker than ranged and magic characters, which you can cast from super far away and hit multiple enemies like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and go like this and just strike through the middle. Generally I'll move my character, ooh, that was almost bad. I'll move my character a little bit higher here, and then I'll jump down, or I'll move it down and jump up, because that's the safer way to do things. But because I want to challenge a little bit, I'm going to go here and jump through the middle and ping these characters like this. So I'm just going to run through him and hopefully get an execute off on him. I did not get the execute off on him. Alright, so we're just going to retreat a bit. Man, the spiders are killing me. And of course the execute goes off now. So this is his biggest issue, is outside of bleed, he doesn't have a whole lot going for him now because his damage is just much lower. But the bleed does a ton of damage. So after that nerf, he just isn't a good character as much as it used to be for these types of style, the PvP stuff. So we're gonna go into combat details. You can see it looks like a ton of his damage came from the bleed, his LA alone. I did take a lot of damage that time. So yeah, 86% of my damage came from my leader ability, and that's pretty much zero. Bleed Master, and this just used to be even more, so it was like 99% of his damage, 100% of his damage sometimes came from his leader ability, Rain of Swords. Now it's not so much the case anymore. So that's why he was nerfed. However, I felt the nerf was a little bit too much. Maybe should have reduced, made the duration of the bleed be a little bit longer over time, or increase the amount of seconds it was, because it used to be 18. And now I think it's like 3 or 5 or something. Let me check. 3 seconds, yeah. It used to be 18 seconds of that beautiful bleed, and you saw how much damage it did up before. So it was just so much damage. But yeah, that was Xero. Hope you guys enjoyed, and look forward to the next video with y'all.